iPad now. If you've been trying to watch the last 3 times that I tried to get this started, there were technical issues because for some reason my laptop wouldn't work with the webcam. I made trading cards of myself, primarily because narcissism, but also I'm out of merch. I'm out of merch to sell after shows, and I mean it's a good problem to have, but like people have been asking me for stuff to buy after shows, and I would like their money, so I'm obliging with with a line of trading cards, um, because I'm out of CDs. I could get more made up, but I don't know. People don't really listen to the CDs anymore. Like my album, like people listen to it, but they don't pop it on their CD player. You know. So I figure with this, I can put QR codes and stuff on cards, and then folks can still listen to the album digitally. Plus, like, I think even my dry bar set is now streaming pretty much everywhere. So I don't know. It feels weird just having people buy a CD from me they can listen to for free when really, like, I buy CDs from comics if I like them. I'm not going to put the CD anywhere. I just want to give them some money and let them know I care. And I imagine people are doing that for me as well, and I appreciate it. But I'd rather them get something, I don't know, useful, certainly not the right word for trading cards. Fun? Like, it's a fun idea, I think. Maybe I'm wrong and nobody wants these things, but I think it's fun. Like, I did a conference for college bookers a while ago, and the thing that I brought as, like, not merch because you're just kind of giving it away, was I did lens cloths, because I am forever losing lens cloths, and thought, well, if I need to order 200 of something to give to college students, I'll probably have some left over, and then if I just have a bunch of lens cloths, great, because I'm always losing them. And then that solves at least one tiny problem in my life of never being able to find a lens cloth to clean my glasses. They were a huge hit. People really dug them. I didn't book a ton at that conference, but a lot of people came to visit the booth and get a lens cloth. You know, I wasn't sure how these were going to turn out. I'm pretty happy with them. I definitely should have done more in terms of double checking QR codes and stuff. One card I know did just straight up get printed wrong entirely. My own fault. The front and back don't match for what they're supposed to be. And again, no one to blame but myself here. It was 100% user error on my end, but by the time I caught it, it was too late in the process to want to change anything. These are a little thin, would be my main critique of the Staples print job. I'm not super happy with this cutter either. But yeah, you can see I made, this is a trading card. The trading card series is Glenn Tickle Against the World Crime League, which is the never released sequel to Buckaroo Banzai. This is upside down. Is that my fault or theirs? That one's correct. It might be. It's probably my fault. Sorry, my back. I got a weird itch. So this is just a photo of me on stage at Gutty's Comedy Club, and then on the back, I just wrote about how that they're the first club that like gave me a headlining weekend, which was just earlier this year. Which I've been doing comedy for 13 years. I feel like for most of my contemporaries, it doesn't take that long to get headlined at a club for a weekend, but I don't have a lot of luck with clubs. I have way more luck at colleges and corporate events, private gigs. Like, I'm not complaining. I work plenty. I'm about as busy as I want to be. This is like, in terms of photo quality, the worst one. That is a photo of me on stage at New York Comedy Club in 2010. This was like 2 months into comedy, and I booked myself a New York Comedy Club, brought in friends and family. Oh boy, what a dummy. It went fine, but I feel now like I'm so embarrassed at the thought of people seeing me, like, that I know perform that early. But yeah, like the idea of selling cards instead of albums, like this is a card of my first album. This is Baby's first comedy album. I know it's probably backwards. I don't know if that's just my view or yours as well, but then there's a QR code on the back. You can just go download it or stream it. I made it a link right to my website rather than like Bandcamp or something, because I don't know where Bandcamp's going to be in a year. They're great. I'm not saying I predict their downfall or anything. It's just, the internet is always a changing place. So I figure if anything does change, I can just change the site on my page. Some of them I just did like right to the YouTube length of a video or something. I think that's what I did with my Dry Bar card, because I don't have the rights to the video. It's just they put it up for free on YouTube, so I think I might have embedded the YouTube link. I don't really remember. I made all these really quick. I also didn't double check a single QR code. They might go nowhere, which this is kind of a test batch of these cards. I'm not happy with this cutter that I bought. I looked up basically how do I wanted to make trading cards. Like, I don't how do I do it? The solution I found was we'll just get them, like make the art files, have them printed, and then I can just cut them myself. Because there's places that'll do it, but it's like crazy expensive for the printing and cutting. I also found a bunch of places that will sell you the packaging for trading cards. They will not print the trading cards or put them in the package for you. So I have a show this Sunday in Virginia, Midlothian, Virginia, I believe, at a church that is raising money for a new building or something. They billed me as Christian comedian Glenn Tickle, which I'm not that. I didn't know how to tell them that without it making sound like I didn't want to do the gig, or I was gonna be really offensive or something. I have no plans on offending anyone. It's just an inaccurate description. Like, I'm not mad at them over it. But I'm doing a show there this weekend, and typically what I do, if you book me at a fundraiser, if I sell merch, I will split the proceeds with whatever organization booked me to raise funds. So, like I said, I'm basically out of merch, except for I have plenty of copies of Jerk the magazine, tons of Good Grief DVDs. I will probably not sell the Good Grief DVDs at the church, because back to the point of me not being a Christian comedian, I think I talk a little bit about religion, not even disparagingly. It's just kind of some of the things that people say to you after you lose somebody, if they are religious and you are not, I feel like don't necessarily come across as kindly as they intend them to be. But yeah, so there's my first album, QR code. You can stream it, download it. You can even watch the video here on YouTube. You can go watch it right now after this or during it. You live your life. Dry Bar, same thing. The QR code just goes to a page I made on my website. They did print, I think, well, I know one of these mistakes is mine, but a few of these are coming up upside down when I print them. And I think that's a problem on their end. I think they no, it must not be, or it wouldn't be to the right card. I probably just goofed up. I shouldn't try to blame Staples. I'm also just stacking these up in a big weird pile. I shouldn't do that because they're gonna go in packs. But the packaging that I had made up won't be ready for this thing, so I'm just gonna, I guess, sell them loose, give them out because they're just like test prints. But that's, if you've seen Good Grief, that's the ladybug photo that inspired probably my favorite joke from that album. It's hard to have a favorite joke from an album about your brother's death, but I got one, and it's the ladybug joke. Yeah, I'm really not thrilled with how this cutter is doing. Also, the paper's a little thin. I really wanted these to feel like the trading cards I had as a kid, where it's like Alf or Batman or Pee-wee's Playhouse. I think I had trading cards of, where it's like that cheap printed cardboard. This is cardstock. It's a little thin, and the printing's not that good. Some of that I know is just like the source material. Like the ladybug picture is pretty blown up because it was a few iPhone versions ago that I took the picture with. This one, like I said, is from 2010. It's a picture my dad took, I think, with an actual digital camera, not just his phone at the time. I feel like 2010 would have looked a lot worse. This one, I don't remember the context in why I put a weird kind of anime filter on a picture of myself holding my violin Rochester. But when I was looking for pictures of me with the violin, this one made me laugh the hardest. So there's just like an explanation on the back about why I have the violin. It's just because of a joke. But I figure I own it. I should like learn to play it. I'm not very good. But I did name my violin Rochester after Jack Benny. His butler was named Rochester. I didn't name the violin Jack Benny because there's already a violin named after him. It was the Stradivarius that he owned, which is worth millions of dollars. He left it to the Los Angeles Philharmonic, so LA Philharmonic, I would love to stop by sometime, give that violin a little play. I am not good, but I also won't break it, So it's the Jack Benny Stradivarius, basically, so it seemed irresponsible of me to name my $200 violin. I think that's what my nice one. I say nice one. The nice one that I bought. I bought a violin initially because I realized you could buy one on Amazon for like $40, and I thought that was ridiculous because I thought like they're supposed to be expensive. So just the thought that I could get one so cheaply tickled me. Not to use my own name as a verb. But I thought it was really funny, and then the joke that I was trying to do about it didn't really work that well, and I realized it's because I need to pull out a violin at the end of this joke for it to really work. So I bought the cheap Amazon violin, and then I did kind of start actually trying to play it, and you will be shocked to learn a $40 Amazon.com violin does not sound good. Also, a violin played by me does not sound good. Just because I'm not good at it. It's a terribly difficult instrument to play. But a friend of mine was selling one. Steve Hoytis from the band. I'm blanking. Sorry, Steve. I forget your band's name. But they're great. Look up Centennials. That's the band. He was selling a violin that had a pickup in it, so that I could play it at big arenas and plug it in. A feature I believe I have used exactly twice. Because the thing, like, violins are made to be loud, like, to be played for people. Like, it's, I'm not playing over anything. Plus, the bit that I do with it culminates in the audience singing along with me playing Eternal Flame by the Bangles on the violin. And the idea is, I tell the audience, I'm like, you guys have to sing, and you have to sing loud because I'm bad at this. So if you don't sing loudly, you're gonna have to listen to this idiot play the violin badly at you, pretty aggressively. one of the first times I did it, or one of the only times I did it, it's not a bit I do a lot, because it's really only fun to do with a lot of people. My friend, who, it was his show. I mean, not to, I always feel weird. It's John Hodgman. One, I feel weird name dropping. Two, I don't know if we're really friends. We've done some shows together. He's really nice. I admire him greatly. I think he would be fine with me telling people we are friends. I don't know. But he told me, he knew the bit I was going to do because I told him. And he's like, oh, you know, Susanna Hoffs from the Bengals who wrote Eternal Flame. I know her and I'll invite her to the show. I was like, please don't do that. I like the bit. It is a lot of fun, but don't invite the woman who wrote this beautiful song to watch me ruin it on a cheap violin. And I still don't know if he really invited her. I believe, I take him at his word that he knows her. I don't know if he really invited her. She did follow me on Twitter shortly after that. So I feel like the only reason is because they talked about it at some point. And I noticed that she did unfollow me recently. I don't know when she did, but I noticed it. I don't really keep track of that kind of stuff. But I figured I'd just check. She came across my Twitter feed the one day, and she did in fact unfollow me, which I would say like, oh, like why? I mostly tweet that Elon Musk poops his pants, that Joe Biden should do the metric system. Like my Twitter is a weird timeline of me talking about Buckaroo Banzai and making weird inside jokes, mostly for myself at this point. So Susanna Hoff, I get it. No hard feelings if you don't want to watch that timeline every day. I'm still a big fan. Love your work. Vincent D'Onofrio blocked me on Twitter, since we're talking about weird Twitter interactions. I don't know why. Nothing but respect for Vincent D'Onofrio. I think at one point, this was early, probably before it even came out, I think I might have tweeted that he was a weird choice for Kingpin, which before the show came out was an opinion I had. But he's great as Kingpin. He's great in most things. I've heard nothing but nice things about him as a person. I don't know why he blocked me. But again, I block people for no reason. Like if you have a profile picture that I don't like, I'll block it just because, like Megan Amram, I think, is who I'm thinking of as a comedy writer. Hilarious. Really love her work. The profile picture that she had for a while was her like making a weird face that I found really off-putting, so I blocked her for a while. I think block came before mute, if I remember correctly, of how Twitter developed things. So I would probably just mute someone like that now. But I think I've gotten over it. But there's another guy that I unfollowed and retweet him, and I'm like, I gotta block this guy because he looks so much like a guy that I don't like from the early days of me doing open mic comedy in the Lehigh Valley, and it's just his profile picture looked too much like this guy, and then I'd see this guy's face and think about this other guy. Nobody wants that, you know. All right. The more I'm cutting these and playing around, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. The weird upside down thing is something I have to print on the second, or fix on the second print run. But I'm pretty happy with these. I think people are going to like them. The only reason I'm doing this on YouTube Live, by the way, is to try to get the view hours up. I'm going to start streaming games and stuff. My capture card wasn't working, or the HDMI splitter thing that I got wasn't working. So for some reason I couldn't do it for a while, but I got a different thing that I'm going to try to get set up. I didn't bother doing that because I have to get this done. Maybe tonight or tomorrow we'll give game streaming another try. When I first got the Xbox, I was doing Elden Ring, and the thing is, I'm not used to like live streaming games. Sometimes I forget that I'm supposed to say things and be entertaining, and I just kind of zone out. and just we'll play Elden Ring silently for a while. And some of those videos got a surprising number of views for not being that interesting. Oh, back to the Jack Benny thing. I uploaded a clip of my favorite Jack Benny joke because years ago I wrote an essay about him on my site, The Humor Weekly, and I wanted to include some clips to quickly show readers Jack Benny was a really funny guy. And I saw one of them has 200,000 views on here. I believe that is the most I have on my own channel. My Dry Bar special is closing in on 900,000. I would really like it to hit 1 million, and it's like gradually climbing up there. So I think it will eventually. It's just a matter of when, and it has been up for I think almost 10 months. So I feel like if we could do it in under a year, that would feel good, you know? If you haven't watched it and you're watching me cut trading cards, I can't imagine why you would be watching this and not a thing probably much more enjoyable. Give it a view. Maybe share the link with 100,000 people that you know and trust. I'm really proud of that set, and just I like it a lot, and I'm really happy that a lot of people have watched it. I've gotten almost nothing but good feedback on it. I try not to look at comments and stuff because mean ones hurt my feelings. But I did just realize I don't think I had the chat open. So if anybody posted anything, there we go. Yeah, if you have any questions or anything while I'm doing this, feel free to drop them in the comments. I will try to respond in a timely fashion. Yeah, but the Dry Bar comedy set, I'm really proud of. I'm glad so many people have watched it. When I do check the comments, even though I know I'm not supposed to, they're all almost universally nice. A couple people, they weren't even like, this guy's terrible. It's just like, oh, he's not as good as whatever other comedian. I'm like, that's, I mean, possibly true, but also I don't really care. I do remember one of the first stand-up clips that I put on TikTok blew up. It's got like 500,000 views, which I understand in TikTok terms is not that impressive. Even on I have other higher performing videos, but it was one of the first that I put up, and the first comment was like, this guy's not funny, and I deleted it because, like I said, mean comments make me feel bad. And then it was before it blew up, and people, I think before I deleted it, a couple people were like defending me, which I thought was nice. But then I deleted it, and then it blew up, and I can't remember the guy. I should have like made a note because I'm petty, and been like, yeah, it's got 500,000 views. A lot of people have seen it, and it's a good bit. Like, it's weird because it's not like, if you leave a comment on a video of mine and say like I'm not funny, I don't believe you. I've been doing comedy for a long time. I've performed for a lot of people, and it goes well almost all the time. Like, I'm not saying I'm incredible, but just statistically, if you put me in front of a room full of people, give me a microphone, those people will probably have a nice time. Maybe not the best time in the world. I don't think I'm out there changing lives, but they're probably gonna be pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with how these are turning out. I keep going back and forth between like, oh, the paper's a little thin, but look at that little guy. It's hard to be mad at this beautiful drawing of Mr. Toybato, my robot sidekick, done by Scottish artist Niels Lawrence. One of my faves. He's a comic book artist. I commissioned this drawing when I did my first album, on which Mr. Toybato appears, and it's pretty good. I like it a lot. He sent me the original. I framed it, and it is currently in my comedy shed, not hung up yet, because some of the stuff I hung up there fell, and I got to figure out a better solution I had like those 3M sticky hooks out there, but it gets so hot in the shed, those were failing and like stuff was falling down. So if you ever watch anything I'm streaming from in there, you might see the art behind me once I get it rehung. Right now I think it's a picture of the A-Team cast signed by everyone, probably not legitimate. But it was a present I think my wife got me. Maybe my friend Claudia? No, Claudia got me the A-Team poster. The photo, I believe, was my wife. But yeah, I loved the A-Team as a kid, still do. It's a good show. So there over my shoulder, I have a picture of Kevin Smith and Jay Muse as Jay and Silent Bob, signed by Muse, I think, who I've never met. I've met Kevin Smith a couple times. You can read all about the time he basically kidnapped me on the marysue.com. It was a story back when I was at Geekosystem, but that's not a site anymore, so it's hosted at Geekosystem. You can read all about it. So, I don't know. If you deal with like printing stuff regularly and you have hot tips on the easiest, most cost-effective, I'll say cost-effective, I don't want to say cheapest. I'm willing to put money into these trading cards. But the cost-effective means of printing, and like this is, I think, 100-weight cardstock, and it is, it's like thick paper. I want thin cardboard. That's what I'm looking for. How many more of these? Oh, so many. I'm tempted to try to do them like 2 at once, but I'm worried the stack will get like misaligned, or it doesn't look like they did the most precise printing job at Staples. So I don't want to like ruin a whole page of these. I'm just looking to see what I keep hitting the live chat button and I don't see a box. I see a box about chat, but I don't know. But also nobody's really watching this, so. God, I feel like, what do I do? Do I go on TikTok live? I'm trying to build up hours of people watching on here, but literally no one is watching me do this. I don't blame you. This is not interesting content. When I go live on TikTok, sometimes people watch and they talk to me while I do a thing. But my goal is not build view hours on TikTok. Build viewing hours on here. So I can monetize stuff. Which is not like, I don't think I will monetize my channel and then make $1 billion. It is just like a milestone. Like I finally hit 1,000 subscribers on here. Thank you, if you are among that number. And it feels nice just because it's like a new decimal place. I don't know. But I'll probably try to stream Tunic later. I just downloaded that today after beating Far Cry 5, a game with a horrible ending. I looked it up after to see, is it multiple endings? Is there a good one? I got the good one, and it's terrible. Made me feel bad. I don't want to spoil the game or anything. Far Cry 5 really bummed me out. It was a fun game to play because you get to go around taking out a weird religious cult, and that feels good. But then you get to I don't want to ruin it. It's such a dour ending. And there's a worse ending, I found out. I thought maybe I made a bad choice somewhere along the way and got the bad ending as a punishment. But that is supposedly the good ending. Didn't care for it. But I'm playing Tunic next. We have a viewer. Hello, viewer. I'm cutting Glenn Tickle against the World Crime League trading cards. like this one featuring one of my wife's chickens. I don't know which chicken. Couldn't tell you. I don't know. But I am trying to figure out now what I could have done differently. So you print it and you turn it over and it's upside down to the way I would like it to be on the wide cards. But I have a chicken card. We got Mr. Toybato. This was from Apple Gravity, a cartoon I made about Isaac Newton proposing the first draft of his theory of gravity, where he thinks it only applies to apples. And then on the back, QR code, you scan it, boom, you get to watch the full 3-minute cartoon, which is up here on my channel if you want to give it a view. It's really fun. It is what I did in 2020 when all my shows got canceled and I had nothing to do. So I needed something. I taught myself animation, or I guess I should say I taught myself new animation software. I did some animation stuff in college, so it wasn't like I was starting from scratch. I had a pretty good idea how it worked. I just needed to learn new software. And then the software I was using stopped working at one point, so I had to teach myself a different software. And then I just got an email from that software saying that they're no longer going to be supporting Mac. So I don't know. I need a third option. I don't know. All right, hang on. The comment went away. There it is. Famous comedian Glenn Tickle. Hello. I'm assuming nephew. As my nephews are the only people who call me this. I was using a program called Anime Studio, which is now Moho. But that one works again, but I'd have to rebuy it to get it to work, which I might end up doing. And then I got Reallusion Studios was the company. I forget what software, but I bought that and played around in it a little bit. Didn't do too much, but they just sent an email last week. It says with the new update, it won't work on Mac. So I can stick with the old version, and then eventually it just won't work anymore. But I figure once I update my laptop, which is what happened when I was doing Apple Gravity, I updated my laptop and then that program stopped working. I don't know. There is Adobe Character Animator, which I hear good things about, but I hate the subscription model for software. So I don't really want to do that. I might start a Patreon specifically to get the $50 a month or whatever it costs to just have a Creative Cloud subscription. Because I don't even need the full Creative Cloud subscription. I have Affinity Photo and Publisher and Designer, which take place of Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. And I like those a lot. And it's not a subscription model. I think I paid $40 for each one. Well worth the money if you're looking for affordable photo or vector or design software. I used Publisher to make these back from my college job of making flyers and stuff for the office that I worked in, where we did it on Quark Express. I don't know, it's a good skill to have. It's weird that most of the skills that I use from college are not things that I learned in class. It is like, learned how to use Quark, so now I can do publishing stuff. So I made a dumb magazine for jerks, that kind of stuff. Some of it, I guess, I did learn because I went to school for film. So like video editing, I use quite a bit. But I'm making these cards to sell at shows. And then, right, so that's a photo of me in Provo, Utah, right before I filmed my Dry Bar special. Or not right before, because I'm dressed like that. I would have been, I walked by the theater in Provo and then went back to the hotel room and got changed. This was like maybe a couple hours. But you scan the code on the back and then you can watch the Dry Bar set. Seems like a more fun thing to do than just getting new CDs made up for the first album or whatever, which I should probably do. I don't know why I keep dragging my feet. It's not even really that expensive to get them printed. It's just one of those things where it's like it's going to take 6 weeks now because of supply chain issues. So my ADD brain has a hard time planning 6 weeks into the future. I was like, oh, if I do this now in 6 weeks, this problem will be solved. So instead, I spent the last couple of days designing trading cards with my face all over them. And now I'm cutting them so I can sell them in a show this weekend. I don't know if anybody will buy them at the show this weekend, but they will be on offer. But I don't know, I liked having trading cards and stuff as a kid, so it seems like a fun thing to do. Plus, I had the thought at the end of Good Grief, I think I put Glenn Tickle will return and Glenn Tickle against the World Crime League, which is a reference to my favorite movie, Buckaroo Banzai, because at the end it says Buckaroo Banzai will return and Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League, but then they never made that movie because the first one bombed. There's a novel version of it that's out now that's really not very good. But I thought it would be funny. I'm like, oh, that would be a good album title name. And then I had the thought, wouldn't it be funny if I do a whole, maybe not a full, maybe like a half hour set all about Buckaroo Banzai. But anytime I try to work the material out, it just dies on its feet. No one cares about this movie. I do a lot of jokes about movies. I talk a lot about Star Wars and Jurassic Park, and I have a bit about the Shawshank Redemption. The difference is these are movies that people are familiar with. Like, even if you've not watched all of the Shawshank Redemption, you've seen some of it on TNT while you're flipping through the channels. You kind of get the gist. Anytime I try to bring up Buckaroo Banzai, there's too much legwork I got to do. I did have a thought that I could solve this problem by having my friend Chris Cummins, who hosts Nerd Night Philly. I'm like, if we have him come out and do a presentation, like a Nerd Night style presentation about Buckaroo Banzai, and then I come out and talk about it, or if I get a theater to like screen it, where we all sit down, we watch Buckaroo Banzai, maybe take a little break, I come out, tell jokes about the movie we just watched for half an hour. It's a long night for everyone, sure, but I think that then they'll get the jokes, hopefully. I don't know. It's not really a problem that I've solved. So I've titled the trading cards Glenn Tickle against the World Crime League, figuring this is at least a way I get to use the name of the thing, even if I never actually make an album all about Buckaroo Banzai, because people don't care. They should. It's a lot of fun. I'm hesitant to say it's a great movie. It is a bit of a mess, but I love it. Nephew, if you are in fact the viewer on here, I'll let you borrow my DVD. It's streaming on Amazon Prime again. It goes back and forth on there, seemingly just to spite me. And again, I'm cutting these and I'm putting them in a big weird pile, not organized in any way. There are 12 different cards. I made the ones with like album stuff more common. Because when I bought wax wrappers, because that's what the trading cards that I bought as a kid came in, but they're not in from the printer yet, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with these when I get to the show, but in terms of packaging, I mean, but I want, like, each one will have probably the three albums. Dry Bar, Good Grief, Yes Really. It's weird because I'm working on like the next hour that I'm filming. I think it was supposed to be later this year, but we're getting pretty deep into 2022 and I don't have a date set yet, so maybe early 2023. And I keep thinking of it as my second album, but It's like my fourth. It's great. I like having a body of work, you know? I have a lot of friends who do stand up in New York, and they're just like kind of always cycling through material on like a rolling basis. I like the idea of like building an hour, recording it, and then moving on. Like I still do like older jokes sometimes, especially if I'm doing like a corporate show. I will do basically my dry bar set because I know like this is clean. It got through dry bar review, so I can't imagine a company would object to anything I say in that. Not that I am out there doing terribly objectionable material the rest of the time, but it is, you know, you get it. So when I am working on a new hour, there's like, I feel like the Australian and European model of stand-up comedy is a little closer to what I'm doing, where they will like, you spend the year getting your Edinburgh set together, and then you go there and you do it, and then you kind of maybe tour it around a little bit after that, and then you're on to the next thing. Seems fun. Then there's guys like Seinfeld who will just do a 30-year-old joke in a show and not care. Which, you know, I'm not saying one is right, one is wrong. I'm saying I would rather, if I'm going to see somebody, I want to hear the new stuff. You know, it's like the opposite of when you go see a band and you just want them to play the songs that you like. If I see a comedian that I like, I really want to hear what they're working on. I get disappointed when it's somebody that I like and they're just doing stuff that I know from albums or whatever. But again, not everybody feels that way. It's fine. I'm not saying don't ever do older jokes. I know I do. I keep doing that Dan Huff thing, mostly because it's fun and because people like comics. I do. There's a early version. I don't think it's on my album version of it, but I'm pretty sure it's on the dry bar version, where like comedian friends tell me that they don't like, it's not a good bit, they don't like the Dan Huff thing, and it just makes me want to do it more. The chat keeps disappearing, so I'm sorry if people... Yeah, M-Dog, sorry I didn't respond. The chat keeps disappearing and then I missed it. You're a vegetarian too. Thank you. I've been doing that, like a bit about my vegetarian joke in the dry bar set because they put it in a compilation about jokes about vegetarians and stuff. But most of the other comics are like complaining about vegetarians, and then mine is like just the bit about the shape of meat not being a cylinder. And they titled it "The Real Reason People Don't Like Vegetarians." I'm like, are you saying it's me? Because like the way you edited this special, it feels like you're kind of resting it firmly on my shoulders. But I've been in the Midwest a lot lately for shows, and oh boy, do Midwestern audiences turn on me immediately when I'm like, hey, I'm not weird about it, but I don't eat meat. They just shut it down completely. I did a bit, I put a video up on TikTok. I think I added it as a short here too, where I talk about how I don't drink milk anymore. I'm not vegan, but I'm lactose intolerant in my old age. And somebody commented, they're like, don't do that bit in Wisconsin. I'm like, I'll do it. It's a good bit. I win them over by the end of it. But for it to work, I have to say, like, I don't eat meat. I do not drink milk, like stuff like that. And the second you bring it up, people kind of get closed off. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I did a show at the Wayne Chicken Show, I think is the official title. Everybody called it Chicken Days, and then somebody corrected me. The official title, I think, is Wayne Chicken Show. But I did a bit about not eating meat, and it like turned people off, and not in like or no, it wasn't one of them ones about eating meat. A bunch of animals die in my new album, not real, some of them for real. But I talk about like a zoo full of animals getting put down, like really bummed people out. And it's like, you guys understand what's going to happen to most of the chickens here at this festival. Like, it's not, I don't know. People are weird about it. It's easier now, for sure, to be a vegetarian, especially on the road. Like, the Impossible Whopper at Burger King, it's not very good, but they have it most of the time. It's maybe like twice I've tried to order it and they were out. It's nice that I can still eat garbage fast food while I'm driving around the country. The one at White Castle, the Impossible Slider, big fan. But yeah, I have to go back. When am I back in the Midwest? I was talking to my corporate agent today about maybe coming to Nebraska again in December, because six trips to Nebraska in a year is just not enough. But yeah, I am. Somebody asked when I posted about them, I think on Facebook, if the trading cards are going to be for sale online. They probably will be eventually. It's a hassle to sell things that I have to ship out, so I'll probably get around to it. But if you see me at shows, I will probably have them. I'm really excited for when the packaging comes in, because it's like the wax paper stuff that like my Alf trading cards came in as a kid. So I have to like fold it and then seal it with an iron. Kind of looking forward to that process. I hope it works better than this cheap paper cutter that I bought. They had like a really dinky looking one, and I'm like, that one will just fall apart. So I went up a level, and then like the next jump was like a $30 difference between this one that I bought and like the next one. I feel like I should have just spent the money. Oh, it's the last page. I'm almost done. And then I have to organize them, because like I said, I've just been putting them all in one big weird pile, which I shouldn't do. I should have. I guess part of the problem too is I'm doing this as like a short run, so there's different cards. Like I have 3 different cards on this page. The first page is just 9 different cards. When I do a bigger run, I'll just be doing 1 card per page, would probably be the smart play. But I was just in, what was the town? Minnesota, like really far north, was my last Midwestern trip. I'm gonna be, does Ohio count as the Midwest? My friend, comedian Tristan Miller, from I think Minnesota originally, has very strong opinions about what is and is not the Midwest. I don't know if Ohio counts, but I'm coming back to Ohio in November to play Dr. Mario, because I'm very good at it and there's a tournament. But I booked some shows around it to like justify leaving my home and children for a few days so I can go play a video game I like. I've also I'm not going to win the tournament. I've given up hope there, because the people that I play with competitively are all getting better and I'm not. I peaked probably shortly after the game came out. I've not been improving over the years. They're all getting really good. I'm still very good, but I don't think I'm actually ever going to win it. But it's still fun to play with other people who are very good at it. And I don't know, it's nice to be like in the mix, kind of have an impact on how the tournament goes, you know? I have a slightly different playing style than most of the people I play with. So, I don't know, I feel like I have an impact on the tournament, even if I don't win the whole thing. Alright, I'm done cutting cards. If you guys want to see, we got, I think I did 12. There will be more. but the idea was each pack is going to have 12 cards. So I'll just do the same 12 in the first pack and then start with like booster decks, kind of. So there's the Dry Bar photo in front of Dry Bar's Theater in Provo, Utah. You scan that, you get to watch the set, which again, it's just up on YouTube. It's not like a gift, really. Same thing with my album. My album is streaming anywhere. You can watch the whole video here on YouTube or download it from Bandcamp. Then you scan that, it just goes to the page that I made on my website about it, and you can watch it there. I didn't do one for all of Good Grief, but I will. This one just takes you to the Ladybug joke, which is my favorite joke from the special, kind of the single, if you will, from that special. It's the Ladybug again. I drew that picture of a zebra. The stripes say 6th Mystery Zebra, which is a line. A bunch of zebras escaped. I thought the Baltimore Zoo, but as I was researching it, fact checking this card, it was a farm near Baltimore, not the Baltimore Zoo. I've been saying it wrong for years. Does the QR code go anywhere? No, there's not a QR code on that one. There's a picture of me and my beloved rabbit Snowball. Just has some facts about her. She's a fuzzy Holland Lop. Every morning she tries to steal my coffee. All of this is true. There's me on stage at Gutty's Comedy Club. This was their Minnesota location. No, this was Indiana. They've won in Indiana. They've won in Minneapolis. This was the first club that gave me like a headlining weekend. Which again, like I've been headlining for a while. Yeah, I've even done it at clubs, but like being the weekend headliner at a club was just not a thing that I'd gotten to do, and I didn't realize it until after that first week. A drive-through zoo burnt down. What a horrible story. I'm gonna have to. It fits in pretty nicely with a lot of what I have in the new hour. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, there's like a drive-through safari that we went to as kids, not far from here in Jersey or PA. I forget where it is. But again, that's Mr. Tribato, and then the QR code takes you to. It's the full. I think I made it my full album set, but it just starts at the bit with him. I forget. There's a little baby Glenn Tickle in 2010 on stage at New York Comedy Club. It's my first Manhattan show. The Dry Bar one. There's me and my violin Rochester. I don't remember why I put a weird filter on the picture, but when I was looking for pictures of me with a violin, came across that one. Got a good chuckle out of it. Did I hold up? Yeah. Let's see. There's the zebra again. There's a bar in Worcester, Ohio called Muddy Waters Bar and Grill. They have a giant Simon the Chipmunk and a giant Theodore the Chipmunk. They do not have a giant Alvin the Chipmunk. And I was there in 2019, and the fact that they would have the two that aren't Alvin but not Alvin was so wild to me. No one else seems to care. I was trying to do a bit about it on stage. Didn't really hold people's interest like I thought it would. But like, he's the most famous one. If you could get one chipmunk, you get Alvin, right? To have the other two without him seems frankly irresponsible. Again, this is the Apple Gravity one. This is I didn't draw these. There's a woodcut image of a meeting of the Royal Society that Isaac Newton was a member of and eventually the president of. And I took that, broke it up in Photoshop into layers and made like puppets out of all the people, and then put that together in the animation software. So there is it's just black and white. I added the color so you can tell things apart. There's a black and white image of that I turned into the thing, because I'm not that good an artist. Not bad. I draw pretty good. It's been a while. Should get back into it. It's fun. That's one of my chickens. Every day I'm confused as to why there are 4 chickens that live in my yard, but there are. It's out of my control. I think that's all of the different ones. But yeah, I'm going to be selling these at shows. I'm really excited. The rapper should be in next week. So unless you're seeing me at a church in Virginia this weekend, when you see me, I should have the proper packaging and everything. But yeah, I mean they're a little thin. I think when I do the next run, I'm gonna try to find thicker cardstock. But my options were limited for what types of paper I could get Staples to print on in a day's notice. I just ordered these this morning after I finished the layout, which I did mess up. Some of the zebra cards have the wrong back. I should probably find those ones and take them out, but I'm probably not going to do. I'm probably just going to leave them in because I'm lazy. I wish the chat thing would stay up. I don't. What is my opinion on She-Hulk? I haven't watched the 4th one yet. It's fine. Like I'm not that familiar with her as a character. Hulk proper, find boring as a character. My biggest issue with it is like the fourth wall stuff doesn't work as well as I think they think it does. Like I know she does it in the comics, but like Fleabag, the to the camera stuff is like a really integral storytelling device, and in She-Hulk it just kind of seems like they forget about it most of the time. Like she doesn't do it a lot. It's not even like a here's the beginning of the episode, we're gonna talk at the camera to like get you caught up kind of thing. It's just like sometimes she talks right at the camera. Doesn't seem story motivated or anything. It just seems like a thing that happens because they know she does it in the comics, so they feel like they have to. Only Deadpool should talk to the. I mean, other characters have done it. Like it's, I don't. I mean, like Howard the Duck talks at the audience in Howard the Duck, and that predates Deadpool by 20 years. But I don't know. But like even in Deadpool, like he does it a lot, but he does it consistently, and it just feels like, oh, this is just a thing this character does in these movies. It doesn't feel weird when he does it. It goes so far in between times that She-Hulk does it that you kind of forget, and then she does it, and it's like, oh, right, yeah. Sometimes she does it, but like Deadpool, he's quipping at the camera throughout, and it seems to fit a little bit more. Which again, like I don't know if it's that common in She-Hulk comics. I just know that she does it. Does Spider-Man do it in the comics? He might have done it for a while. I mean, comic book characters are narrating in their head. Like that's what you're reading in the captions most of the time. So that is directly at you because you're seeing into their brain. But like Deadpool in the comics would specifically like break comic book conventions of like he would walk from like across 2 panels. It like just he's very self-aware. This is a comic book. This is what's going on. Gwenpool, I know they really upped that because her whole character is she's like a character that can move between universes, I think, and is like very aware that she is now in the comic book universe, that she understands how comic books work. I don't know, but like I'm an episode behind on She-Hulk because I forgot that it comes out on Thursdays. Because I don't know why everything else came out on Wednesdays for Disney Plus stuff, and then they're like, no, Thursdays now. So I don't know. I'll get around to it probably sometime this weekend. I'm trying to think of what other Disney stuff is going on. I'm scrolling up. I wish the comments would just. I'm doing this on an iPad. I tried to do it on my laptop, but it didn't work. Most of the animals survived. I'm getting caught up on comments. I'm glad most of the animals survived. Yeah, I'm trying to think because other other comic book characters have done it. Other movie characters have done it. It's not like distinct to Deadpool. But I think comic book fans, particularly the ones who might be inclined to be upset about She-Hulk anyway, have really latched on to like, well, it's Deadpool's thing. I mean, he doesn't own talking at the camera. There's Shakespeare characters that talk directly at the audience. Bad Batch. I watched the first episode. I know I'm wrong on this. I have a weird thing with Star Wars animation where I love Star Wars. I love animation. When I see an animated Star Wars thing, it's like, oh, well, this is for babies. Which I don't feel that way about Star Wars or animation. But for some reason, like Clone Wars, I didn't watch all of. I watched a couple episodes. I don't know. I should give them another shot. But Bad Batch, I think I watched the first episode and then gave up on. Plus, like, I don't know. I don't want to. Aren't they like I don't even remember the premise of the shows. They're clone troopers, right? I don't want to watch a show about the bad guys. Which it's probably not that. Again, I understand I'm wrong on this point. I'm not trying to righteously defend my position. I'm trying to think the last I watched Moon Knight and kind of enjoyed it, but I don't see how he's gonna fit in as a character with the rest of the MCU, because that show was like very isolated from anything else. Where like She-Hulk, I mean she's Hulk's cousin, so he's there, but if she drops into a fight in the next Avengers movie, it like makes sense. If Moon Knight shows up, I don't know. I keep seeing like I was aware of Moon Knight. I think the first time I saw him as a character was in like one of the Marvel video games. I don't remember which, Ultimate Alliance, maybe one of those, where I thought he looked neat and I was reading about the character. I'm like, he seems great. I didn't really get into the comics that much, other than reading like his Wikipedia page. I'm like, yeah, he seems like it would be an interesting character to read about. And then I just never did because I have ADD and it's difficult to remember to sit down and read a thing. But I like the show. The Marvel TV stuff I haven't really been vibing on too much. Even the last couple movies. Thor: Love and Thunder, I went with my nephew and I was telling him like I hated 80% of this movie, and then like the end it kind of ties everything together in a way that I at least thought was satisfying. I don't really want to watch it again, but there's parts of it that work, and the stuff that didn't work for me can get fixed pretty easily with some simple edits. Like I just think some scenes were out of order. Like you see the flashback with Gore at the beginning. You should find that out later, like his motivation and stuff. Like when he's talking to the kids, that's when you should find out why he's doing the things that he's doing. And with Jane becoming Thor, we just see it, and then she kind of recaps it later to Thor. I'm like, yeah, but we know this. We saw it already. I don't want to hear about it a second time. When he sees her, that's when she should tell him what happened. Stuff like that. I don't know. But I have to get going because I got to get my kid ready for soccer practice. Thank you for hanging out. The post credits of the Eternals. I didn't really. I looked it up. I didn't really know who Harry Styles was supposed to be. I don't know. The Eternals took several tries to get through. I did not care for it. It's really bad. It's probably my least favorite Marvel movie, taking the title away from Thor 2, which really didn't like Thor 2. Thor, I feel like I'm too judgmental on because I don't like the comic book character. I don't like the idea of like using a god from another culture as a comic book character. It feels disrespectful. I don't think they I don't think it's active. Like I don't like how Zeus isn't like people in Greece I don't think still believe in Zeus. But I don't know still. He was in Love and Thunder, and like Russell Crowe did like a pretty cartoony Greek accent to be Zeus. Didn't feel nice. Yeah, there's nothing in Eternals you need to worry about finishing Thanos' brother. Yeah. He's. I read it. I read after. Of course, Daredevil teamed up with Jesus, the most Catholic comic book character. He would have to. Yeah, I read up on. I don't even remember the dude's name. I keep thinking he's Adam Warlock, and I know it's a different guy, but Thanos and somebody like switched, or maybe that, I don't remember. I like once I like comic books and superheroes. Once they go into space, they kind of lose me, which is weird because I love space stuff too. But it's like, oh, once there's interdimensional travel, I kind of check out. But like I said, I need to go. I need to get my kid ready for soccer practice. Thanks for hanging out. Uh, look for these. If you watch me cut them, if you there's a contact form on my website. I'll mail you some cards if you want. If you just go there and say that you were watching the stream, I'll mail you a set. I'll wait until the wrapper comes because I'm really happy with how that's gonna look. But I'm gonna get going. Thanks for hanging out, friends.